Good evening. I guess I was going to say that a moment before, but I had to wait a couple of moments. Anyway, I was, a little like I said earlier. I hadn't made any video on YouTube for a long time. Couldn't think of anything to talk about, and mostly I still can't. But I was thinking about something else. The subject of earlier, is possibly important. Well, it's definitely important. The variation of the old prophecy Armageddon being said to Armageddon to equate to kids' tennis shoes. We don't need that kind of corruption or conspiring. You know, the kids should always just be safe, and instead of any, conspiring, among the leadership, that everybody should adhere to an objective of, each and every day the sun rises and everyone is supposed to be safe. And then by the end of the day, everyone is supposed to continue to be safe and through the night and the next day. So, any conspiring by any corruption should just, let's, hope that everyone's going to have, peaceful future instead. And one of the objectives, of course, is maintaining stability about the currency, the money that we use every day. Personally, I've never had much of any of it, but what I have, I'm glad to have, and what others have, I'm glad that they have. And a few minutes ago, when I was trying to think of something else to say, I was reminded of a constitutional amendment idea I had back in about 2002 that I sent to Congress. And, this is kind of boring, but, it's only been a couple of minutes, and it'll probably only be a couple of minutes more. But to just partly change the subject from, earlier. Excuse me. I was just checking the camera angle. Uh, well, anyway, whatever any other subject might have been, I was reminded about the amendment idea, and a reason for it was because, according to the United States Constitution, regarding money, that there is a stipulation that the only legal tender, I don't know why the word tender is, but that the only legal tender is coin. In the Constitution of the United States, it is specified that the only legal money is coins. But then, that gets kind of heavy. But eventually, of course, we know that there had been the real acts of Congress that enacted the legality of paper notes, etc. But there was never any modification to the Constitution about the original stipulation. So anyway, back some years ago, I decided to go ahead and send a suggestion to Congress, and I found this note in my file that survived Hurricane Charlie. My paperwork about the amendment idea was lost during got soaked and saturated with some other stuff. Anyway, I'm just adjusting the. I'm using a laptop computer that I'm holding in front of me. Anyway, I'm just going to finish this. I used words to make more perfect the union between the Constitution of the United States of America and the Congress, created by its inception. The Constitution of the United States and the Congress, created by its inception. This proposal of an amendment to Article 1, Section 10 is offered. Okay, I think what I did is I went ahead and quoted what the current Article 1, Section 10 is. Uh, well, these are just notes. I'm just going to read what the notes are, okay? Because something else happened. All right, anyway, the notes that I still have here, acknowledging the authorizations of the Coinage Act of 1792 and Supreme Court decision of 1883 regarding paper. Article 1, Section 10 should possibly be amended to no state shall make anything but gold, silver, and copper coin a tender in payment of debts. Well, that's what already exists. But the modification idea included rather no state shall make anything but gold, silver, copper, and nickel coin, and the alloys associated with their manufacture, and certain fine varieties of paper deemed suitable as legal tender notes, acceptable as equivalent representative of coin, a tender in payment of debts. So anyway, that was the text of what I sent to Congress as a suggestion to an amendment to Article 1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution that modification of the original stipulation pertaining to what constitutes the money, what is the legal money, that the modification suggestion wording was no state shall make anything but gold, silver, copper, and nickel coin and the alloys associated with their manufacture, and certain fine varieties of paper deemed suitable as legal tender notes, acceptable as equivalent representative of coin, a tender in payment of debts. So anyway, the idea was, of course, that we know darn well that there is plenty of paper money, and I wish I had more of it. But according to the Constitution, the Constitution doesn't mention paper money. Some people might have kind of evasive, kind of secretive, kind of manipulating about that fact. So I thought of the idea of introducing an amendment idea to make sure, that the foundation includes, legal paper money. So anyway, I went on to elaborate a little bit in my suggestion to Congress, and I wrote, coincidental with the adoption of an amendment to Article 1, Section 10, could be a series of reissues of previous monies. Official U.S. Mint documentation lists the 1793 copper cent as the first coin produced by the first mint in Philadelphia. Sanctioned by the specifics of a 28th Amendment, a limited reissue of the same cent, standardized to current coin size and content, could be introduced. The idea, of course, is an affirmation of a new amendment with an assertion of the past. What was then continues to be with a new beginning, sanctioned beginning. So anyway, then I went on to note similarly, reissues of the 1797 half eagle and eagle coins, originally minted in gold, could be introduced in the form of copper nickel coins as could be the 1798 silver dollar and the 1797 half dollar, the 1796 quarter dollar, and also the 1797 dime, and the possibility of a reintroduction of temporary issue of the 1797 large cent. So anyway, the idea was, like I said, was introduce an amendment to the Constitution, formally legalizing paper money that everybody uses every day anyway, while at the same time uh, reintroducing the beginning of the coins, and at the same time also selecting a possible reissue of some of the earliest paper notes, some of which were multicolored. And one series of multicolored notes was known as the rainbow notes. So anyway, I suggested a reissue of rainbow notes, and also to commemorate the official beginnings of United States legal tender notes without recalling the issues particular to the long past Civil War. A reissue of the 1869 series is what I had emphasized. Well, something different did happen. I'm not sure exactly what, but we do know that these days there is a multiplicity, that there is a number of different uh, uh, paper notes in circulation. Some of them are multicolored, some of them are different, and it's I don't know exactly how it came into being, but I did want to go ahead and mention an idea that had been proffered. I think I sent it back, sent it to a congressperson back in 2002. Anyway, the idea is always to maintain the safety and integrity and security of them. Having a good night.